it's almost like there has to be a kind of a hierarchy enforced within society, and that's how society also moves forward. Like, because that's how revolutions happen, when the working class, or whether it's a feudal system or whatever, there has to be a revolution where they say, wait, you guys are not living like us and it's unfair. And then that's literally how like the Industrial Revolution, the Russian Revolution, every revolution literally starts with
Which book is Gita referencing right now?
Animal Farm
by George Orwell.
That's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Pillow talking red wine, making me feel some kind of way. You know what I'm gonna ask? Will you stay? One day at a time, we'll make it right. When there's no more consequences, oh, gotta rest my mind and take my time.
Hello guys. Yes, this is our conclusion, guys. We've had a amazing time.
Absolutely.
We're just very tired.
And the energy is like, but let's be psyched up and say Beijing is absolutely amazing. We did the Great Wall, we did Long Chi, we did
Forbidden Palace.
Forbidden Palace was the only one that was really overcrowded, that we didn't enjoy too much. There was too many people. Great Wall also had a lot of people.
It did, but I think we were psyched for it. Mentally, and it was less hot.
Yeah.
It was less hot. It was like...
Yeah,
maybe 34, 32, and it was slightly overcast, so it was manageable. I think Forbidden City is like, we're leaving today.
Drizzled a bit. So there was a bit of coolness. Yeah.
This one, it was just direct sunshine, 36 degrees, hot.
And then like swarms of people.
Yeah, so, and we went in the afternoon, like late afternoon, so that was the thing. But otherwise, I think between the two, Shanghai is a very, I guess, modern city. Beijing is the more traditional. It's more slow-paced. I think people are friendly here. That's just my...
You showed them this little cafe spot.
Yeah,
I showed. Like walking in the Wutons, the next thing, this is really cute spot.
Center.
And there aren't many places like this here. Like everything is very like, Kamfu Kitchen. Everything is giving Kamfu Kitchen.
Ursh actually called the Hutongs the RDP houses to China.
Yeah, it's on. It's doing that. But
the projects of China, the ancient projects, I guess. So yeah, it's been good, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed Shanghai and Beijing. I mean, in this vlog, Beijing through our eyes. I hope you've enjoyed Ursula's views on things. I have certainly enjoyed seeing China through your eyes.
Oh, thank you.
I've really enjoyed that.
Did I tell them about the squats? Did I tell them?
I don't know. I'll have to include some of this.
People here squat all the time. Yeah, and then there was this one time we were walking in the Wutongs, and it's like a dark alley. It was at night, and this man is throwing out his trash, and he just lets one rip,
like a long one. It had a pause.
I said,
"Clutches pearls,
sir."
So
we
are late.
Culturally, I'll say number one. Culturally, we are very different. I think it's a reminder that they weren't colonized for too long. And they've really maintained being non-westernized.
Yeah, I said it's modernizing without westernizing.
Yes.
I think that's definitely one country they've maintained it. They've leaped into the future, technology, functional government, all of that.
But are they going to cough up phlegm on the street? Absolutely. Are they going to fart? Absolutely.
Are they going to grow their nails?
Or quickly.
You haven't seen it. Or clip their nails in the office. That's a thing.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Come really close. Are they going to brush their teeth? Maybe.
Okay, yeah. You've had, yeah.
Okay, let me
that's
not speak of brush their. I'm not there when they brush their teeth, or they don't. But their breath is quite strong and pungent. So I'm just pointing towards. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
They're not very westernized. Like body perfume, you hardly smell people smelling like
perfume, fragrance,
or like freshly. Not that they. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not speaking back.
But I mean, deodorant is not a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Like, and not because and they don't smell like but we were talking about this. They don't smell like mafafa. I don't know how to explain this in English.
People.
It's just like It's like it's not a deodorant. We saw it at Miniso, but it's not a thing. Like, we're not every month, every day.
Perfume.
Yeah, it's not.
Not a thing.
It's not so much.
I can actually only think of one person who I really got a whiff of. Oh, this person's got nice cologne. And it was a guy that was from America. Remember that guy?
No.
the that Polish man that we met, the buff one, the handsome one, the hot one.
Oh, okay.
You see, when you say handsome and hot, she remembers. But yes,
He should have started with
yeah, she
lead
led
with that.
Yeah.
Lead with that. The
So
hard
yeah,
one.
like not to speak badly, but don't expect like very westernized. No, they've definitely like moved ahead of the time regarding just being a more
Functional,
modern,
high functioning, convenient.
yes, high functioning. Their cars, last number, their technology right now into the loo. And every time I flash my hand past the bin, it opened. And then it counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it closed. So everything is like high technology. They're scanning your face all the time. Facial recognition, this, da, 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 da. The way they pay, I haven't used my bank card since I got here.
They were like, ew.
When you take bank card or cash, they're like, are you from PC? What's going on with you? Even little kids are like paying with their like, don't you need
With their watches.
and they're like 4 or 5. So it's just like very, very, very technological. But you would expect that would come with some hong hong, but they're not hong hong at all.
They've maintained their tradition and
Yes.
culture and custom, but modernized. It's a key, like, modernizing without westernizing. It's almost unimaginable.
Yeah.
Like if you think of so many other countries that could have modernized, but without taking on the colonial personality or taking on their colonial mannerisms,
yes.
colonial norms.
And it makes you wonder what even Africa could have looked like.
Yes, oh gosh.
Yeah, what could have Africa looked like had they allowed us to continue growing and developing in our own way?
And had we done a lot of work preserving pre-colonial Africa, like infrastructure that we were proud of, had we packaged and curated our culture in such a way that it's, this is ancient culture as opposed to rural or primitive. It's like even the descriptions that we use when it comes to culture, when it comes to African art, we'll say, oh, this is primitive art. But when we talk about other places, they will say this is ancient, this is however many hundreds of years old. I mean, even as something
even
as
the wording,
simple. Yes,
primitive
wording.
versus ancient.
So cultural curation in terms of preserving a culture, looking at something as ancient versus looking at something primitive and rural is it's very interesting. They've really managed, they've pinned it down.
Even just repackaging certain things, like poverty food. Because they eat every part of the animal.
The pig snout, the pigtail, pig skin.
But they repackaged it in such a way because we had Dikao Hills 800.
Yes,
Remember
we went
800
to a
or
place,
900? Yeah. The
800.
The restaurant at the hotel. Hagira man. Ki manginantri. I don't have 800 man,
800 rand. And she was like, man, 800.
Yeah. And so that's just like how they've, managed to repackage their story.
Yeah.
And resell their story. I will though say, even for ancient modernization, they've always been a group of people that have been ahead. Because if you look at the Empress Palace in the 1400s, it's ridiculous.
For the 1400s,
it's
majestic.
Wild. It's majestic. It really is. It's something you would see in like a Wakanda movie today, or very glamorous, extravagant, and this was in the 1400s. So I can always say I think they have been leading the pack for a while. It's not into
Yeah.
I like Huawei. You get what I'm saying?
The examples you give. It didn't start with Huawei.
Hey, I like Huawei.
It started with the Ming dynasty and the Qing dynasty and the Song dynasty. Yeah, they have really managed. I was gonna say, sorry, I'm just gonna add this part here.
No.
There's an element of, and I saw this also with Europe, like with these grand European churches where you contrast this grand building which the working people build, and it's this huge, remember, like back in these days people couldn't read, right? So you see this palace and they tell you that the emperor is ordained by God to be the leader, or the church is ordained by God to be the leader. Well, not the church, let me say the priest in those times, the pope, yes. And you see these grand structures and you compare this to, you've seen the hutongs where it's just gray, it's just plain. Like it would make you believe that something this grand, someone who lives in this grand, like the difference between you and I is that there is a superiority and there's a, when you look at how grand, so that there's a big role that architecture plays almost in classism and creating this hierarchy where it's like, okay, cool, we are ordained, we are here.
And we live.
We are but it's not that we are the bourgeoisie. What's it called? The bourgeoisie? Yeah, so it's like social status, enforcing the social
absolutely.
status, enforcing hierarchy.
Reinforcing hierarchy. I mean, it's in everything nowadays. We can even break it down to like a handbag, down to a handbag, down to the shoes you wear. There's social and the architecture, like we said with the buildings. Now it boils down to the design of your clothes.
Yeah.
That's why we call them designer items. And it creates a social,
It does.
standing and hierarchy in society. But there'll always be a way. For me, it's the part of like how dynasty has always existed.
Yeah.
Different
forms, different locations, but they always exist in some kind.
I remember I was telling you about the ruins in Zimbabwe, the Kami ruins. And I remember we woke up to the top of like one of the, so if you guys don't know, there's this thing called the Kami ruins. You guys can Google that. It will take long to explain. But basically, you woke up to the top, and then at the top it says like King's holding place or King's palace, something like that. But it was just such a reminder that even back then, the king has always had this like, it is I.
Yeah.
And then everybody
you.
else, the commoners, and I think it's in the book *Sapiens*.
Okay. Yeah, *Sapiens*. I remember.
Yeah, I've just forgotten the name of the author, but he talks about like the different stories that human beings have told each other to maintain societies.
Yes.
To build economies, not even maintain societies, to build societies, to build economies, to build cultures.
From what's this? From religion to myth. What's it called?
Mythicism. I don't know.
Mythicism. Yes. But literally different components that all justify.
A lot of myths. It's
Yeah.
not religion, but it's like the dragon then ate the elephant, and then that's why we have a monkey. That's a lot of the stuff you'll hear in China. Then other places will be like, then Adam and Eve ate the apple, and then But
and then Allah came with the scroll to the people. Yeah.
So this book basically discusses like these theories that have kept humans evolving and maintaining like society, and the reason why we're probably one of the species that like have stayed and maintained. It's a beautiful theory. You guys should check it out. But when you see things like this, you see how long it's been going on for.
Yeah.
We're talking like
this is just
BC.
600 years.
Yeah,
this is just 600 years.
Just 600 years. We're talking about things that were happening before Christ here. That's like over 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And just looking at how things have evolved and everything. By the way, I just realized now, the gentrification that happens with Mabuning in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
That's what we're in right now, sort of.
Right.
With the Wutong. Yeah. So the Wutong, like we said, it's like a Alexander, and then you step into this place that's like, feng shui. Everything in China is feng shui, by the way. Even the Wutongs.
They are.
And so, stepping into this place, it's giving that like Mabuning. You know how when you walk out of Mabuning, 2 streets, it's like Gijwanza. It's the same
hostel.
thing. It's the same vibe here. Like we stepped into this place and it's like hong. And they be like there's influences and stuff, but like 2 streets down, it's like the Wu-Tong.
And the tea is 700 rand. I mean. But yeah, I want to add that we also discussed this a bit earlier that it's almost like there has to be a kind of a hierarchy enforced within society, and that's how society also moves forward. Like because that's how revolutions happen when the working class or whether it's a feudal system or whatever.
Revolution.
There has to be a revolution where they say, wait, you guys are not living like us and it's unfair. And then that's literally how like the Industrial Revolution, the Russian Revolution, every revolution literally starts with people going.
Which book is Gita referencing right now?
Animal Farm
by George Orwell.
That's a fantastic book.
Yeah, it is.
It is a very intelligent written book.
Cycle. It speaks to that cycle where like people revolt. This isn't, not good for us.
This is the new era.
And then, yay, we won. And
then the new era also becomes the oppressive
start
era.
looking like the oppressor. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
What do you mean, Palafala Farm? What do you...
Palafala Farm.
Is it Palafala or Palapala?
I think it's Palapala.
Palapala. What do you mean? No, that's a struggle hero.
Yeah.
I'm not shading anyone. I mean, I love my cupcake.
You heard it here. She said she loves her cupcake.
But
her cupcake.
My cupcake.
Just yours, not the country's. I mean, okay. Mine.
I already know. I can't speak for the whole country. I don't want people to say that's your cupcake alone. So I only. So, but yeah, basically, that was a classic example I could think of where, it starts looking like, oh my gosh, how are these the same people
True.
Just like George Orwell was saying. So
Yeah.
all these things, it's the same cycle over and over, and that's what we see.
And in any society, right?
in any
Because
society.
I love that you were able to see that even though it's like everything's in a different language, different,
Yes, absolutely.
it's completely not Western, but you could see that no, this is how it goes about.
I mean, we have broken it down, but guys, it's just the discrepancy. Like the difference it's mind blowing. Literally across the street, Alex, to see that in China as well.
Yeah.
It's like what? And also, you must remember that it's China, but a representative of the 1400s. So we're talking about China 600 years ago.
Yeah, not necessarily
because
now.
I also want a modern Kasiyamo. I don't think you think
Modern kasi, no. But again, a little bit because we're in Shanghai, so it's a little bit different. Whereas,
but are they like very poor areas in Shanghai?
You could say so. I mean, they are. I can't say that they aren't. They are more kind of rural areas, but it's more like farming areas, and even within like Shanghai downtown, you'll find that like lane houses. A lot of people live in lane houses, and a lane house is like, it's a French concession which was previously colonized by the French, hence the French concession. But they'll have these lane houses where it's like it used to be families stacked upon each other, right? And then you'll have one person who will buy a section of the lane house. They'll renovate it, make it gorgeous. So inside when you walk in, it's like super modern. But when you walk down in the downstairs door, you'll see that it's a commune kitchen. So that's like completely run down. It's a communal kitchen. And then you go upstairs to the first floor, and then the one corner apartment has been modernized because someone bought a section of it. But then the rest of it is like, it's like old people who are living there, kind of. You can see they're pensioners. And a lot of them, I know one of the issues is that government can't pay them out. Because here what they will do is they'll pay you out, and then they will build like a new development. But because it's Shanghai and it's very high cost, they can't really afford to pay them out in that instance. But then that's the instances where you see that there's an inequality that exists literally within one house. Because one is like a foreigner who's paying like 10,000 RMB for a lane house in the French concession. And then the other is like an old Shanghainese couple where it's been like generations and generations that they've been living there, and it's not the same thing. It's a communal kitchen, it's a communal bathroom. So you still kind of do see that. But I think sometimes as an expat, really, you don't integrate a lot into the society. You live in parallel with the society, but you don't integrate to the point where you actually you see it, but from an observer point of view. And even now, because when you asked me, I had to think and contextualize it, because I'm constantly an observer and not so much integrated into the society as an expat, in a sense. In a sense.
Sure. Yeah. These are really cool observations. There was also another observation that you shared with me, which I found very interesting. Damn it, I forgot it.
Was it in Shanghai or here?
Shanghai, we were speaking about... I just remembered when you were speaking now. Oh, yes, we were speaking last night. We were talking about how the wealth in Shanghai right now, this generation, allows them to be entertainers.
Yes.
Versus us in Asia. How it's instead of us...
That's a very, very, very good one. But basically, there's 4 grandparents because there's a very high life expectancy here. So you'll have 4 grandparents, and then you'll have 2 parents, and you'll have 1 child. And the grandparents, because they lived during a time where, maybe they would have experienced poverty, right? But they've worked hard. They're like, not even boomer generation, I think.
Oh, like middle,
But they would have worked from like, subsistence farmers to like, at least maybe they have a property. You get what I'm saying? Then the next generation, they go from, okay, we have a property to like, we're working class, we've made money. The next generation is like, okay, cool, now the parents are already maintainers.
But because of the number of children that they were allowed to have, like she's saying, it goes from 4 to 2 to 1.
So pouring
this one
into
child
one.
that's born, if each grandparent had a property, then now 2 parents have 4 properties between themselves, and now these 2 parents make a child who the child is now born into 4 properties.
Yeah.
And so classically, Kizo made a classic example of somebody she knows that, like it went down to
it goes down to the kids.
Down. Unlike us.
And like a lot of the other, I mean, not just us. I mean, other parts of the world where I'm gonna say Africa as an example because that's the example that we can give is it's not this way. It's not this generation, the older generation pouring into the young. We're a young democracy as South Africa, and so we are. Maybe our age or our generation is possibly the first people to take people from poverty to working class or poverty to middle class or middle class to upper middle class or even middle class to rich. So if you're the first generation and you're 30 right now, which means you're pouring back. So instead of it going like this, it's going like this. You are now the one that has made it, and now you are pouring into.
Okay, so from down up, you're pouring back up into.
You're pouring, but then
generation.
if you take, it's going this way, it's dropping this way, and we're going down. It goes
Yeah.
from wide
Parents
to small.
to children, and in our generation,
Oh, so we just
children too.
So we're just switching the arrows.
Yeah,
So instead of going
yeah.
this, it's going like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is going out and like spreading into.
And for me, even beyond
Yeah.
this one, let's just say you don't have black tax now, but the chances that the ratio is 4-1
Yeah.
is not likely.
Just because of life expectancy,
Yes.
because of even
Yeah.
because of apartheid, colonization, and displacement. There's a
Just
lot
the
of
amount
reasons.
children Africans
Yes.
have,
Yeah,
You find
the
a family
ratio.
with 8 children.
Yeah,
From 2 grandparents, you find maybe 4 children.
It already
Then
starts
from
there.
the 4, there's another 4 from each family. 4 times 4 is 16.
Yeah.
Not that it's beautiful in and of itself. That's a beautiful concept as well. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
it is.
But when it comes to wealth and wealth distribution,
Yeah,
what does it look like then?
we're not a generation of maintainers.
And this is it really, the question really always circles back to, it's either you're valuing people, like your value, your win is people. So you meet someone, Kito, what's the value of your family going to be? Are we going?
Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Hope that you've enjoyed the conversation and the insight that we shared into looking at China through a different lens, not just looking at it as a holiday, but also looking at the society as a whole, the history, and contextualizing it with our own history, our own understanding of the world. This was such a beautiful conversation, which was unfortunately cut short, but I hope that you've enjoyed all of our adventures with Ursula, and it has been such a beautiful time to have her on the channel and to share all these amazing memories together. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and let's grow the family. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.